The Olympics are meant to celebrate human triumph, but behind the medals lie stories of tragedy. From athletes who collapsed mid-competition to shocking disasters that stopped the games cold, these moments left the world in disbelief. Join us because these Olympic stories will break your heart and shock your soul. Number 10. Horror accident at Thredbo. An image circulates online showing what appears to be a catastrophic alpine skiing accident. According to claims accompanying the photo, a skier crashed into a tree with such tremendous force that his body was nearly severed in half. Rumors insist this happened during an Olympic competition but was covered up by officials who wanted to avoid negative publicity. The story has persisted for years, with some believing it represents a hidden tragedy from past Winter Games. Others dismiss it as an internet hoax, arguing that no credible documentation supports the claim. Olympic records don't officially acknowledge such an incident, leading skeptics to question the image's authenticity entirely. However, the persistence of this story reveals something deeper about Olympic history. Multiple documented tragedies have occurred during Winter Games, particularly in alpine skiing events where athletes reach deadly speeds while navigating treacherous terrain. The 1964 Innsbruck Olympics alone witnessed 2 fatal accidents under questionable safety conditions. Speed skiing experiments claimed lives before being permanently removed from Olympic consideration. These verified incidents create context where additional, undocumented tragedies seem possible, especially from earlier Olympic eras when media coverage was limited and officials had greater control over information dissemination. The debate continues in online forums and social media discussions. Some researchers claim to have found new...
Keep the voice steady and informative with light emphasis on important facts. Number 9. Knut Jensen death. Denmark's Knut Jensen competed in the 100-kilometer team time trial cycling event at the 1960 Rome Summer Olympics. August temperatures in Rome that year exceeded normal ranges, creating dangerous conditions for endurance athletes. Jensen was part of Denmark's 4-man cycling squad, racing alongside teammates through scorching heat. During the race, spectators noticed Jensen struggling, weaving erratically on his bicycle. His movements became increasingly uncoordinated as the race progressed. Suddenly, he collapsed on the road, his bike clattering to the pavement. Medical personnel rushed to his aid, finding him unconscious and unresponsive. They transported him immediately to a nearby hospital, but despite aggressive treatment efforts, Jensen never regained consciousness. He died shortly after arrival, becoming one of the first documented deaths at a Summer Olympics. The initial investigation blamed heat exhaustion and sunstroke, common culprits in endurance sports under extreme conditions. However, the autopsy revealed shocking information that would change Olympic sports forever. Medical examiners discovered significant levels of amphetamines in Jensen's system, combined with a substance called Ronical, a blood circulation stimulant.
I'm going to ask you a simple question. Are you a naturally curious person? If you're watching, I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. This space is made for people like us. To ensure you're always part of this community and receive all our latest discoveries, you just need to do one thing: subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to stay connected with us. Okay, now that you're part of our Legion of the Curious, let's move on to the next item. Number 8. 1992 Winter Olympics in Albertville, France. Death. Speed skiing pushed human velocity to terrifying extremes during the 1992 Winter Olympics in Albertville, France. Athletes wore suits resembling space gear, transforming themselves into human missiles racing down mountains at 158 miles per hour. Swiss competitor Nicolas Boucheté had mastered this dangerous discipline, securing his finals position through consistent performance. February 22, 1992, started as routine preparation. Boucheté led fellow athletes down a public slope for warm-up runs hours before the championship race. The mountain concealed a lethal surprise beyond a small crest. A snow grooming machine blocked the path. Traveling at catastrophic speed, Bochete had zero reaction time when he cleared the rise. The collision killed him instantly, the impact so devastating that organizers made no announcement to thousands of spectators waiting for the finals. Mystery surrounds the accident's exact circumstances. Some accounts claim the machine sat off-trail without warning markers. Others question visibility conditions that morning. Adding confusion, Bochete reportedly wore slalom equipment instead of his specialized speed skis during the crash. Investigation reports never clarified these contradictions. His death effectively ended speed skiing's Olympic future. The sport proved too dangerous for official inclusion, demonstrating that some boundaries of human performance carry unacceptable costs. Traditional Olympic events also harbor deadly risks, proving that catastrophe doesn't discriminate between experimental and established competitions.
Number 7. 2010 Winter Olympics in Vancouver, death. The 2010 Winter Olympics in Vancouver opened under a shadow of preventable tragedy. The Whistler Sliding Center had already earned criticism for its extreme design before athletes arrived for competition. During practice runs leading up to the games, a Romanian luger lost control, crashing at high speed and suffering severe injuries that ended her Olympic dreams immediately. An American competitor also crashed but escaped with minor wounds. Armenian star Armen Gilabagyan, a veteran known for exceptional skill, fell victim to the track's unpredictable design, signaling that even elite athletes faced unacceptable danger. Nodar Kumaratashvili, a 21-year-old Georgian luger from an Olympic family, prepared for his final training run before official competition began. His best friend and teammate Levan Varamashvili had just completed his own run. Kumaratashvili's family watched from the stands, eager to witness him compete on the world stage. Determined to conquer the notorious Curve 16, nicknamed for its deadly unpredictability, he launched down the icy track at tremendous speed. Levan stood at the finish line, heart pounding as his friend maneuvered through sharp curves. A slight miscalculation at turn 13 caused brief concern, but Kumaratashvili recovered. 3 turns remained. Then a sickening sound shattered the air. Kumaratashvili entered the final curve, but something went catastrophically wrong. His sled veered slightly off course, just enough to send him. Keep the forgotten story of Ross Milne. Ross Milne represented Australia's determination to compete in winter sports despite lacking snow-covered training grounds. The 19-year-old alpine skier arrived at the 1964 Innsbruck Winter Olympics carrying his nation's hopes. Dismissing his fatal accident as mere inexperience ignores the systemic failures that created deadly conditions. Innsbruck faced severe snow shortages, forcing organizers to transport snow from distant Austrian regions. This manufactured snowpack created unpredictable surface conditions. The downhill course lacked basic safety infrastructure. No protective barriers separated racers from exposed rocks, scattered branches, and tree trunks lining the track. Athletes navigated these hazards at 40 to 45 miles per hour. Journalists and competitors repeatedly warned officials about dangerous conditions. No meaningful changes followed these warnings. January. Number 5. Kazimierz K. Skrzypecki, death. Kazimierz K. Skrzypecki competed for Great Britain at the 1964 Innsbruck Winter Olympics despite being 55 years old, making him the oldest competitor in the luge event. Fellow Olympians affectionately called him Uncle, but his age masked exceptional physical conditioning. A former Royal Air Force pilot, K. Skrzypecki maintained peak fitness and determination to race alongside younger competitors. The Innsbruck luge track harbored serious safety deficiencies. Poorly maintained sections, patches of waterlogged ice, and unpredictable conditions made every run a gamble. Many athletes crashed more frequently than they finished cleanly. Officials implemented minimal safety improvements despite obvious hazards. Kazimierz remained undeterred by risks or his age. He had trained extensively for this moment, refusing to let anything prevent him from competing. During a practice run, his sled wobbled violently before spiraling completely out of control. Within seconds, he veered off the track and was thrown into the air at high speed. He slammed into frozen ground with brutal force, shattering his skull and pelvis upon impact. Medical teams rushed him to the hospital where surgeons attempted emergency procedures. His body had endured too much trauma. The following morning, days before the games officially opened, Kazimierz K. Skripecki passed away. His death sent shockwaves through the Olympic community. Athletes mourned while journalists demanded answers about track safety. Number 4. Bahman Golbarnejad, death. Bahman Golbarnejad embodied resilience beyond most human comprehension. The Iranian cyclist, competing at the 2016 Rio Paralympics, had already survived stepping on a landmine during the Iran-Iraq War, losing his left leg. Rather than accepting limitations, he dominated Paralympic weightlifting, earning 12 gold medals and 1 silver across multiple competitions. A shoulder injury in 2006 forced him away from weightlifting. Most athletes would retire. Golbarnejad reinvented himself completely, channeling his competitive drive into professional cycling. 10 years later, he represented Iran in the C4 category for athletes with limb impairments, proving that setbacks merely redirect determination. Rio's road cycling course tested even the most experienced competitors. Steep climbs transitioned into treacherous descents, requiring split-second decision-making at high speeds. For someone who had rebuilt his athletic career from devastation, this represented just another challenge. During a dangerous downhill section, Golbarnejad's bike veered unexpectedly off course. He collided with a jagged rock, suffering catastrophic. Number 3. Centennial Olympic Park bombing, 1996. Atlanta hosted the 1996 Summer Olympics with tremendous pride, celebrating the Games' 100th anniversary. Centennial Olympic Park served as the celebration's heart, a gathering place where thousands of visitors enjoyed concerts, festivities, and Olympic spirit nightly. July 27, 1996 started as another joyful evening. Families, tourists, and Olympic fans packed the park for a free rock concert. Security guard Richard Jewell noticed a suspicious green backpack beneath a bench in the crowded park around 1 a.m. Following his training, he immediately alerted authorities and began clearing people from the area. Inside that backpack sat a bomb packed with masonry nails designed to maximize casualties. At 1:20 a.m., the device exploded with devastating force. The blast killed 44-year-old Alice Hawthorne directly, her body shielding her daughter from the worst of the explosion. Turkish cameraman Melih Uzunyol suffered a fatal heart attack while rushing to film the aftermath. The bomb injured 111 others, many suffering severe lacerations from the embedded nails that became deadly shrapnel. Panic erupted as smoke filled the air and wounded victims screamed for help. The FBI launched a massive investigation, initially focusing suspiciously on Richard Jewell himself, the security guard who discovered the bomb. Media outlets vilified him for months, destroying his reputation despite having saved countless lives through his quick actions. Meanwhile, the real bomber remained free. Eric Rudolph, a domestic terrorist with anti-abortion and anti-government extremist views, had planted the device. He evaded capture for years, hiding in the North Carolina mountains while on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list. Authorities finally arrested him in 2003. Number 2. Munich Massacre, 1972. September 5, 1972 transformed the Munich Olympics from a celebration into a nightmare broadcast worldwide. At 4:30 a.m., 8 militants from Black September, a Palestinian extremist group, scaled fences surrounding the Olympic Village. Disguised as athletes and carrying stolen keys, they infiltrated the Israeli team's quarters at 31 Connolly Strasse. Wrestling coach Moshe Weinberg heard suspicious sounds and immediately confronted the intruders.
He fought desperately to block the door, giving teammates precious seconds to escape or hide. The terrorists shot him, then killed weightlifter Yosef Romano, who also resisted. 9 other Israeli team members became hostages. David Berger, Zeev Friedman, Yosef Gutfrand, Eliezer Halfin, Amitzer Shapira, Kihat Shor, Mark Slavin, Andrei Spitzer, and Yakov Springer. Approximately 1 billion people worldwide watched the crisis unfold on live television, a first in Olympic history. German authorities negotiated for hours while the world held its breath. The terrorists demanded the release of 234 prisoners held in Israeli jails and safe passage to Egypt. German police developed multiple rescue plans, all rejected or bungled. Evening arrived, and authorities agreed to transport the terrorists and hostages to Fürstenfeldbruck Airport, claiming to provide aircraft for their escape. This was a trap. German sharpshooters positioned themselves around the airport, but the operation was catastrophically mismanaged. Police snipers lacked proper training, night vision equipment, and coordinated communication. When shooting began, chaos erupted immediately. The terrorists realized it was an ambush and executed their hostages. One terrorist threw a grenade into a helicopter containing bound hostages. Firefights continued for over an hour. When dawn broke, all 9 remaining Israeli hostages were dead, along with 5 terrorists and 1 German police officer. The International Olympic Committee initially suspended the Games, but resumed competition after a memorial service just 34 hours later. This controversial decision sparked global debate about whether continuing honored or disrespected the victims. The Munich massacre remains the deadliest terrorist attack in Olympic history, fundamentally changing security protocols at all future games. Metal detectors, armed security, surveillance systems, and restricted access zones became standard. The tragedy demonstrated that even the Olympics, symbolizing peace and international cooperation, couldn't escape global political violence.
Number 1. Francisco Lázaro, 1912, Stockholm Olympics, death. Francisco Lázaro worked as a carpenter in Portugal while pursuing his passion for distance running during the early 20th century. The 1912 Stockholm Olympics represented humanity's endurance tested under primitive safety standards. Lázaro won 3 national marathon titles while maintaining his demanding carpentry trade, training relentlessly despite limited resources. He carried Portugal's flag during the opening ceremony, becoming his nation's first Olympic representative. That honor would transform into tragedy within days. July 14, 1912 brought punishing heat to Stockholm. Temperatures reached dangerous levels, prompting 27 of 95 registered marathon runners to withdraw before the race started. Those who recognized the brutal conditions refused to compete. The 40-kilometer course, slightly shorter than previous Olympic marathons, became exponentially more dangerous under the scorching sun. Wearing bib number 518, Lázaro started strong among the frontrunners. He maintained competitive pace, stopping briefly only for water. His training had prepared him for this moment, and he refused to let extreme heat slow his pursuit of Olympic glory. Around the 30-kilometer mark, his body reached its breaking point. Lázaro collapsed unconscious, his core temperature soaring to 106 degrees Fahrenheit, a typically fatal level. Race officials and spectators rushed to provide aid, finding his skin scorching hot yet unable to cool down despite being drenched in sweat. Medical staff worked desperately, but Lázaro never regained consciousness. By morning, he had died. Initial reports blamed the heat, but autopsy results revealed shocking details. Lázaro had covered his skin in wax, possibly...
Now, I'm leaving the next step of your journey up to you. On your screen, you'll see 2 of our best videos. Choose your curiosity and click on the one that calls to you now. Well, that's it, and until next time, Curious One.